Good morning, friends, and I hope all of you had a good weekend and welcome to the new week. Looks like Monday morning blues, only with 19 attendees so far. I hope it will pick up. Let's get started because it's already 5 minutes past the hour. We cannot wait any further. Today, we will start a new topic. Okay, we completed our discussions on conduction heat transfer in the last class, last week. And this week, we will start a new topic. And till last night, I was still undecided what to do. But what I decided today morning is I'll cover radiation after conduction. Normally, I think you will see that most of your friends in other sections would be studying convection after conduction. That's how most textbooks are also organized: conduction, convection, boiling, condensation, heat exchangers, and finally they talk about radiation. And what I figured out is, both in my undergraduate days as well as later when I went for higher studies, even there when I took the postgraduate level heat transfer, radiation was always treated as a stepchild. Okay, everything would be covered in great details, and finally only a few lectures left at the end, and radiation would somehow be covered sketchily. So I decided no. This time I decided to give it a little more importance because it is an important concept, and so therefore we will start with radiation. Yeah, you are not the first batch with whom I'm doing this. I've done it before. Uh, the good thing is radiation by itself is a standalone chapter. You really don't need to know convection in order to study radiation. So therefore, we can start it now. All right, so let us jump into the topic right away. Yeah, thank you for the tips in the last class after the lecture. I have changed the permissions of this meeting already. Okay, so I hope you can see my screen now. Let me move to radiation. So the way what I would do is, today we are talking about thermal radiation. Keep that in mind, please. Okay, because you would have learned about electromagnetic radiation in your high school physics or maybe in the physics courses in first year. Uh, Thermal radiation is a subset of that. It is also electromagnetic radiation. Okay, electromagnetic radiation over a certain range of wavelength is where thermal radiation is most important. Okay, so what we will do is, instead of a very classical textbook approach, I'll start in a little different way. I'll start with something called basic concept. Okay, welcome back, friends. I think something very strange happened. Suddenly, I was kicked out, and then they said that you have logged in from another device. Uh, okay, sorry, let me come back. As I said, I'm going to start with thermal radiation today, and we'll start with some basic concepts. Okay, uh, let us call it concept number one. Concept one, let us say. The concept one is that any surface, whether it's solid or liquid, at a given temperature, which is above absolute zero, will emit thermal radiation. Okay, so the concept one is any surface, solid or liquid. Okay, even if it is, let us say, a glass of water, then the free surface is going to emit radiation because it is at a temperature above 0 Kelvin. This emits thermal radiation. Please keep this in mind. You are emitting thermal radiation. I am emitting thermal radiation. The computer screen in front of me is emitting thermal radiation, and so on. And that's how there is radiation exchange between all surfaces that have what we will learn later, a view factor. So if I can see you, then it means we are exchanging thermal radiation. And what is the definition of seeing you? It means that if any ray that is emanating from my body can go and reach you, it means that we have a radiation exchange between us. Okay. Now the rate of radiation, rate of emission, of thermal radiation, you will see that I'll try to use the word thermal radiation as much as possible. But sometimes, if I do use radiation in the context of this course, it means thermal radiation. Okay? So rate of emission of thermal radiation per unit area is proportional to T to the power 4. Or in other words, Q double prime, right? Rate of emission per unit area, which is heat flux. Q double prime is proportional to T to the power 4. Okay. Where T is the absolute temperature. Keep it in mind. Okay. This T is the absolute temperature of the surface. Okay. Now, does anybody remember what this law is called? This is the fact that Q, the heat flux, is proportional to the fourth power of the absolute temperature. This is known by a law. I'm sure you guys know of that. What is it?
Boltzmann.
You are giving half the credit.
Stefan Boltzmann.
Stefan Boltzmann. Yes, exactly. Stefan Boltzmann law. Okay, we will talk about it later again in much greater details, but keep this in mind. And one more thing, please note it down in bold, underline, whatever you can do in your notebook. Never work in centigrade. When you are talking about radiation, I don't know how I can overemphasize this. This is very important. Okay. So in radiation, whenever you have a problem, please first thing, it's a very good habit to convert everything to absolute temperature. And you can do the same for conduction convection problems as well. because in those cases, typically we deal with delta T. And as you know, for centigrade or Kelvin, the delta T doesn't change. It's just a shift by 273, right? So even for conduction convection, if you want to make it an universal habit, it's a good habit to have. I don't have it, unfortunately, but it's a good habit to have. Okay. Now, gases under certain conditions, this is, I'm just making a passing remark, that gases under certain conditions of temperature will also emit radiation. Okay. Now, as part of this course, we are not going to talk about that. Okay. We will not talk about radiation emitted by gases, nor even about, when two surfaces are exchanging radiation heat flux or thermal radiation. We are not also going to talk about the participation of the medium. Okay. So whether they're exchanging thermal radiation in vacuum, or whether they're doing it in air, or whether they're doing it in some other gas, for the purpose of this course, they're all equivalent. Okay. However, keep in mind that the gaseous medium does play a role. The other thing is, the thermal radiation that is given off the surface is an electromagnetic wave. Okay. It is emitted in the form of electromagnetic waves. Okay. Now, what are the different types of electromagnetic waves we know? We know of, radio waves, microwaves, X-rays, gamma rays. Okay, which are X-rays, gamma rays are at the lower end of wavelength. Microwaves are at the higher end of wavelength, and so on. So, if we try to draw, let us say, how do we draw it? Let us say this is the entire wavelength spectrum. I will, let us say this is 10 to the power 0. 10 to the power 2, 10 to the power 4, 10 to the power 6, 8, and so on. And similarly, let me come to this side, 10 to the power minus 2, 10 to the power minus 4, 10 to the power minus 6. Okay, this is wavelength, gamma in microns. So now, this 10 to the power minus 2. On this side, we have X-rays, gamma rays, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And here we have, as we know, microwaves, radio waves. Okay. Now, thermal radiation, typically when we talk about thermal radiation, we cover this range, like 0.1 to 10. So this range, 10 to the power minus 1 to 10, this range is thermal radiation. Okay. I would say thermal radiation in 100 to 1500 K range. Okay. Now, please keep this in mind and make a note here that this 0.1 to 10 microns, this is the range of wavelength where thermal radiation is most, what should I say, most exciting. Okay. Radiation, thermal radiation is emitted from a surface across the spectrum of wavelength, across the entire wavelength spectrum. But however, the intensity of radiation is most important in this range of 0.1 to 10 microns. We will understand this a little better very soon. Okay, so let us make a note here that 0.1 to 10 microns is the range where thermal radiation is most interesting or exciting. Okay. Radiation is emitted across all lambdas. Okay, but most of it falls in this range. Okay, and again for the temperature range of 100 to 1500 Kelvin, which is typically what we deal with, surfaces we deal with for most applications. Okay, the other thing to note is, does anyone remember the visible light spectrum? You know, violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red, which is the visible spectrum, right? Optical, visible light. What is the wavelength range of that? Does anybody remember? Even ballpark?
Sir, I think 400 to 800 and Armstrong, I think. 400 to 800
Nanometers. Yes,
is.
exactly. Nanometers, not angstrom. So not 800, actually 700. So 0.4 to 0.7 microns. Okay. So where does this lie then? Let me use some other color. So this is 0.1. This is 1. So somewhere here. Okay. Okay. So we'll make a note here. So lambda of 0.4 to 0.7 microns correspond to visible light. This is the only small range of wavelength which we can see. Okay. So which means that the light radiation spectrum actually falls within the thermal range. Okay. Light or optical falls within the thermal radiation spectrum. Okay. That is why, you know, the filament bulb, if you look into it, it is an extremely inefficient device because you have to heat it to very high temperature and you get this visible range typically it's in the somewhere between yellow, orange, and red, which is what we see in the filament bulb. And the thing is that almost 80% of the filament bulb, that energy that you put in, is lost as heat, and only the remaining maybe 10 to 15%, or maybe 20%, is your optical energy, which is what lights up your room. Okay. So that's why the filament bulb is such an energy inefficient device, and that's why we went from filament bulb to, I mean, in the recent few years we have seen CFL, and now it's the age of LEDs. Okay, so keep this in mind. These are important concepts. Okay, so now, as I said, that any surface at any temperature T, if I think about surface, let us say at a temperature T star, at any point it is going to give out thermal radiation in all directions and across all wavelengths. Okay. If you take a flat surface and you think about it is giving out in all directions, so you can imagine that this is like a hemisphere, right? It is giving out in all directions, in all three directions. Of course, the bottom surface is fixed. Okay, it's a flat surface. So therefore, now it is like a hemisphere. If you put a hemisphere, then it is going to intercept all these rays that are coming out in the form of thermal radiation. Right? So if I now want to plot it, plot what? That's the next question. So here it is lambda in microns. And what we are going to plot here is emission rate of emission, let us say, per unit area. Okay, at that particular wavelength. Right? So if you look into this, what we typically find is a profile like this. And probably you have seen this, you are familiar with this. So there is a rate of emission per unit area as a function of wavelength. What we will see is this range where the radiation is maximum, and on both sides of which it is very small. It is not zero, it is very small. These values are 0.1 to 1 to 10, sorry. Okay, so that is why I said that this is the range where thermal radiation is most interesting, most significant, most exciting. Right? The other thing to note is area under this curve is the radiation heat flux. Okay. So Q double prime is actually the area under this curve. Okay. So once again, any surface at any temperature is going to emit thermal radiation across all wavelengths. But the thermal radiation, the value of that thermal radiation is highest or significant in the range of 0.1 to 10 microns of wavelength. So that is why we say that the range of thermal radiation is 0.1 to 10 microns. However, that doesn't mean that there is no radiation for wavelengths below 0.1 or above 10. There is radiation. There is radiation from minus infinity to plus infinity, but we don't normally consider it. I'm sorry about this. Just 1 minute. I have to take this one. হ্যাঁ বলুন। এগারোটা 5 ধরে নিন। হ্যাঁ না সেটা বোধহয় ক্যান্সেল হয়ে গেছে, আমাকে তো তাই বললেন প্রফেসর রাজাশেখর। কারণ উনিও ক্যান্সেল হয়নি, কারণ ও আচ্ছা আচ্ছা, ঠিক আছে দেখুন যদি আসতে পারেন। হ্যাঁ জানি, কিন্তু প্রফেসর রাজাশেখর কালকে সন্ধ্যাবেলা আমাকে বললেন যে ওটা হয়তো হবে না, আজ সকালে আবার কনফার্মও করলেন সেটা। হ্যাঁ দেখে নিন একটু আপনারা যদি। হ্যাঁ একটু। হ্যাঁ ওকে। হ্যাঁ ওকে আচ্ছা। হ্যাঁ আমারটা অনলাইন। হ্যাঁ ওকে। Sorry about that, please. Okay, so this is what it is. So this is concept number 1. Let us go to the second one. Concept 2. I took almost half an hour for concept number 1, but that is okay because that is the most important concept. Basic concept, fundamental concept. Second is, we are talking about a surface emits radiation. But in addition to emitting radiation, a surface is also going to absorb either part of or the full entire radiation that falls on it emitted from other surfaces. Okay, so any surface therefore can emit, it can also absorb. It can emit radiation because by virtue of being at a temperature above absolute zero. But similarly, the surfaces around it are also emitting. Those part of that radiation is going to fall on the first on this surface, and this surface can absorb either that entire part or part of that radiation that falls on it. Okay. Okay, by the way, before going there, this curve that I have drawn, does anybody know, has anybody seen this before? This is governed by this curve is governed by a certain law of radiation. Anybody remembers? I don't know if that is being taught, that is taught at +2 level, I've forgotten.
Sir, like I can take a guess. I'm not sure, but is it black body radiation?
No, I mean, there are 3 laws of black body radiation. We are going to talk about those. No, this is true for anything. It can be black. It is this shape or this profile is true for a black body. This profile is true for any non-black body or gray body as well. There is a certain law that governs this. I mean, how much radiation is given out at what wavelength. Okay, that's fine. This law is called Planck's law. We will talk about that. There are 3 primary laws of black body radiation. One is Planck's law. One is Stefan Boltzmann law, which we talked about. And the third also probably you have heard about it. It's called Wien's law or Wien's displacement law. Okay. So these are the 3 basic laws of black body radiation, but that's the topic after this. Okay, after these few concepts that I'm going to talk about. First, the second concept is, in addition to emitting thermal radiation, a surface can also absorb all or part of the radiation. And when I say radiation, it's thermal radiation again, falling on it that are emitted from other surrounding surfaces. Is it clear? what I'm trying to say is, if this is my surface, then there are other surfaces also around it. Surface 1, maybe this is another surface. This is another surface. Sorry, microphone. So there are surfaces around it. So all these surfaces are also emitting radiations in all directions, and part of them is going to fall on our surface of interest. Okay. So how much it absorbs, that is governed by a property called absorptivity. We are going to discuss about that later when we talk about properties of surfaces. The third concept, which I have already covered before, but let us write it down. It is that a surface emits thermal radiation in all directions encompassed by a hemisphere. Okay. And how much radiation it gives in each direction is not constant. So the radiation, the rate of radiation per unit area, rate of emission per unit area is also direction dependent. Okay. So let's write that the surface emits radiation, and therefore let's say thermal radiation, in all directions encompassed by a hemisphere. Okay. What do I mean? It is going to give out radiation in all directions in order to, and at all wavelengths. So in order to find out the radiation given at a particular wavelength in all directions, I have to integrate the rate of radiation, rate of emission across all the directions. Okay. And what is the direction going to be? The direction is going to be, there will be two angles. Okay. One is the azimuthal angle, which will go from minus 180 to plus 180, or 0 to 360. And then there will be the zenith angle, which is going to vary from 0 to 90. Right. Think about it. You take it 0 to 90, right? You have like a quarter circle. And then you move it around for 360 degrees. You form this hemisphere. Okay. So I would say emission is direction dependent. Okay. Concept 4. And this is becoming, just 1 minute, give me a minute, please. Okay, sorry about that. Concept number 4 is, which I have also talked about before, that gases also can give out. So let us not have any wrong concepts here. Okay, it's is one thing. It's a different matter that we do not cover it as part of this course, but you should know that gases also give out thermal radiation. Okay, but that is out of scope of this course. Okay, so we will also not study the role or participation, let us say, okay, but that doesn't mean that there is no participation of the medium or gases do not emit radiation. uh, we need to know that also happens. I mean, it's different that whether we study it in this course or not. I break my pen. No. All right, so these are the basic concepts, 4 concepts that I have talked about. Concept number 1 is any surface gives out radiation, and the radiation takes place in all directions and in across all wavelengths. But however, within that across all wavelength, it's 0.1 to 10 microns where thermal radiation is most exciting. Okay, but the rate of radiation per unit area has a much more significant value compared to wavelengths above 10 microns or below 0.1 microns. Okay. Concept number 2 was that in addition to emitting radiation, a surface can also absorb part or the entire amount of radiation that falls on it that is emitted by surfaces surrounding it. Okay. Concept number 3, that the radiation is given out across all directions. If I take a small area, it is going to emit in all directions, and the amount that it emits in different directions can be different. The emission is direction dependent. And concept number 4 is that gases also participate in thermal radiation. They also emit thermal radiation, but however, for this course, we will not consider that. We will consider that the emission of these electromagnetic waves is independent of the medium. So whether it's vacuum or whether it's air or whether it's carbon dioxide or rarefied air or dense air, it doesn't matter, but actually it matters. Okay. All right. Any questions on these so far? These are some of the very bare bone skeletal concepts, but very important, because what we are going to study after this hinges on these basic concepts. Okay, so please direct any questions that you may have to me at this point while I write down the topic of our next subsection. Any questions? Okay, if not, let's move on. And here, what we are going to discuss in this section is that we are going to talk about emission characteristics of a surface. So far, we were saying that, yeah, it gives out radiation, it emits thermal radiation. etc., etc. But what are the characteristics? How do I characterize this emission? So what does it depend on? Okay, does it depend on the nature of the surface? So that's the first question, and that would lead us to another definition, which is called the black surface. Okay, so this is, which means this is a surface which absorbs. Remember, we said that a surface, in addition to emitting radiation, also absorbs part or entire amount of thermal radiation that falls on it from other surfaces. So if such a surface absorbs all the radiation falling on it, regardless of wavelength and direction, it is called a black surface. Okay, which absorbs all thermal radiation falling on it, regardless of its wavelength or direction. Okay, so this is how a black surface is defined. And also, since radiation, thermal radiation is a surface phenomenon, it's technically correct to use the term black surface instead of a black body. Okay, so, but however, if during discussions with some other people, or maybe in some problems or books, if you come across black body, it's okay, but I mean, don't revolt. But technically, you should use the term black surface. See, it can also be shown and this is beyond the scope of this course. The proof is beyond the scope of this course. You have to trust me. It can also be shown that for a given temperature, a black surface emits the maximum amount of thermal radiation. Guys, extremely, extremely important. Okay. So therefore, a black surface for us can serve as a benchmark. Okay. Excuse me. Because number one, when it comes to emission, it is the best. It emits the maximum amount of radiation. And when it comes to absorption, there also it is the best because it absorbs everything. Okay. So a black surface can act as a benchmark. Any other surface can approach a black surface, okay, but cannot be equal to a black surface. Black surface is an imaginary, is an ideal concept. I can try to make something as close to a black surface as possible. Okay. So now what we will do is we'll talk about a few definitions. Okay. Because what we are trying to do is, before we solve problems or address problems, we are trying to equip ourselves with certain tools. Okay. So the definition 1, I'll write it: total hemispherical emissive power. Total hemispherical emissive power. I'm going to term it as E. I'm going to denote it as E. What does it mean? It means this is the radiant flux emitted from the surface from I would say emitted from emitted from the surface. That's it. I've already talked about, I already said flux, which you know is per unit area. That's it. So E the unit is watts per meter square. If I take a small area on this surface, let us say dA, I'm going to have radiation in all directions, across all wavelengths. We have already talked about it. Okay. So this encompasses all wavelengths. So why total? Because encompasses all wavelengths. And why hemispherical? Because it encompasses all directions. Okay, it's a summation over all wavelengths and a summation over all directions. Okay. Now we know for a black, this is maximum for a black surface. So we often denote it that for a black surface, E is equal to EB. Okay. So keep this in mind, total hemispherical emissive power. So basically this is the amount of heat flux that is coming out from the surface, from any unit area on a surface in all directions, in all wavelengths. Okay. So this, my friend, is actually that area under that curve we talked about before. That Planck's law, the curve that we drew, rate of emission per unit area as a function of wavelength. If you take the area under that curve, you get this total hemispherical emissive power. Definition 2. Total hemispherical emissivity, denoted by epsilon. Okay. Now this one, what did we say? We said that I have a black surface And let us say I have another surface. So our friend here is also giving out radiation in all directions. And our friend here is also doing the same. Now, this is our black surface, and this is our real surface. So this is our EB, and this is our E. Okay. So the definition of this is the ratio of the total hemispherical emissive power of the real surface to that of a black surface. But then the next part is most important. At the same temperature. Guys, please. This is very, very important. So therefore, what do I have? I'm saying that epsilon is E over EB. And since we know that the emissive power, we said that, right? Definition of a black surface, that at a given temperature is the black surface that emits the maximum amount of radiation. So therefore, epsilon has to lie between 0 and 1. Okay, so let me stop sharing here. It's 10:57, time for your next class. We will come back on Wednesday and continue on this. There are 3 more definitions that we will cover, and after that we'll go to the laws of black body radiation. Okay, so till then, thank you very much, and we will see each other again on Wednesday at 8 a.m. Thank you. Let me stop the recording here.